If you want the happiness of the self, get rid of the body, mind, sense. We spend our lives always searching after happiness. Could you define what is happiness? You won't be able to. Do you want the happiness of having a wife? The happiness of eating food? I want the happiness of self. If you want the happiness of self, get rid of the body, mind, sense. There are plenty of things to talk about, and I can, but don't talk about anything irrelevant. Think about that self, or the touch of I amness only. Make that the very core of your being, and you will understand that itself is the manifest Brahman. I would like to know what is the knowledge you have of your own self, that you are. You are here, right now. What is it that you are? To know that you are is that knowledge you are without words. Sometimes there is a mood of happiness which I cannot explain. At that moment, nothing can be explained. Now that I am sitting here, I can say, it happens like this, but that again is a bodily experience. I call it the prior most I principle, prior to anything. Subsequent to that, the 5 elements come out of that, conjuring up the space and the remaining 4 elements. So there, in that prior most principle, we have to stabilize. The question now is one stabilizing downward or upward? Common parlance has it that I am getting elevated. My position is getting higher and higher. But it is not so. We have to subside, settle down into our original state, in our priormost state. So I prefer to call it the lower state, to subside into one's foundation, sink into the source. From your standpoint, what is knowledge? Knowledge is that which is collected by the words or their meaning, which means the mind. But that is not self-knowledge. Self-knowledge cannot be captured by words or the mind. You are sitting here. You are, prior to words. Now the hearsay goes, I am. I am means the flow of mind has started. Now whatever you say, that I amness through your mind about you, you have represented as yourself. The traditional knowledge comprises whatever is collected through this mind through the words, externally. But that is not self-knowledge, which is prior to that also. How could there be any bondage or shackles to the Atman? It is only the meaning of the words which one accepts for oneself that becomes the shackles. We want only that self-knowledge, which is acceptable or palatable to the mind, not true knowledge. But that which is accepted by the mind is only a yoke. The Atman principle remains untouched by the meaning of the words that flow from it. Even the 4 aspects of the language, para, pasyante, madhyama, vikari, do not touch it. Words trying to describe that original primordial state invariably fail. That is why the mind sinks into quietude and why the Vedas settle into quietude. And when there are no words to use, it means there are no Vedas. Even in the worldly everyday life, you must develop the conviction that whatever language spouts out of you is the language of the Vedas only. This means that you must have that purity in you. We must be purified to that extent in order for the Veda language to come out of us. It is not a question of being purified or not purified. One has to understand the principle. Whatever I say, you must apperceive directly without the filter of the words. Because if we accept the words, what happens? Based on those words, we create a concept. And then based on that concept, we accept that for what we are. We create an image based on a certain concept, based on the words we think we are hearing. But that is not jnana. Only that which is directly apperceived is knowledge. The capital we have is this knowledge I am. But what have we done? We have handed over that knowledge to the body and we say, I am the body. Thereby we have reduced the totality, the limitless, to the limited, a specified, insignificant body. And that is why, being unable to give up this association with the body, we are afraid of dying. If any idea is traumatic, it is the idea of death. Why? Because we are not able to disassociate ourselves from this identity with the body. The knowledge I try to convey will not be acceptable to the average person, even if he happens to be interested in spiritual knowledge. This is because he expects something from the point of view of the body, this identification with the body. In that state, as an object, he wants to get something. Knowledge as an object, which is impossible because knowledge is purely subjective. How amusing it is that all of you are listening to what I am saying, but you do not accept what the words are trying to express regarding your identity. You listen, but the real meaning underlying the words is not accepted. There is no receptivity for what is being conveyed. It is only a rare one who directly apperceives what I am trying to say without the words, 1 in 10 million. You all entertain a certain concept, and whatever I say you are trying to have within the limits of that concept. Then you say, yes, that is acceptable to me. You listen to me once, twice, or several times. Then, at the end of a certain period, you come to the conclusion, I have not benefited much from Maharaj's words. Why? Because based on the words you are trying to create an image about yourselves. And when whatever I say appeals to you according to that concept, you say, yes, now I have got the knowledge, and now I understand what Maharaj is saying, and Maharaj is right. Why? Because what I say appeals to your concept. I would like to know from all of you whether what I say appeals to you as truth and is beneficial. I repeat, what does one say that is beneficial? When it tallies with the concept one cherishes. Then you say, yes, it is beneficial. And when it does not tally, you say, sorry, that does not appeal to me, it is not for me. We stick to the words and the meaning, forgetting that what we are is prior to even the beginning of not only the word, but also the first basic thought. Then there is no communication, no grasp of what is being said. I started saying that that which you are is prior to any words or thoughts, so that cannot be identified as such. You can have a word and meaning for almost anything, but for this being, there is no author, no word. Any other thing has been or can be acquired. But with respect to this, there is no acquisition. You are that. Many of these japi-tapis, even those who consider themselves as jnanis, are still entangled in the concept based on certain words. Any mind or word created design can have no real significance to you, for it is only conceptual. Your true nature is such that it can have no color or design. I have read the questions and answers from I Am That. I found it hard to understand how Maharaj, though in the body, always answers questions from the highest level only. And somehow it has filled me with the greatest happiness. It may be bodily happiness also. I do not want to say anything about that. But both of us, my son and myself, have had supreme moments of joy, peak experiences, if you like, during the reading of some of the answers. Because I am stabilized in that foremost absolute principle, all the talk will emanate from that level only. Whenever you talk from the 5 elemental bodily or consciousness state, that will pertain to the worldly life. But this is purely the knowledge related to the highest. Don't be identified with the corpse, and be happy. Sitting in Maharaj's presence, I have a certain bodily experience. How should I understand this? In trying to understand the experience, whatever significance your words and concepts give to it will be acceptable to you, but that is not knowledge. That is why I am not very keen to ask people to stay for any extended period of time, because if you stay that long, you will not be able to understand. In the course of your initial 8 or 10 days, whatever is somewhat understood will first have to be properly digested. Until then, any further talks will not be absorbed. Assuming that a person is knowledgeable, then what will happen is this. Having left this place, he will not be able to remain alone for long. He craves company to whom he can deliver the goods of spirituality. He likes to seek out somebody with whom he can talk and discuss spirituality. Otherwise, he feels very unhappy. You feel happy and satisfied if you don't encounter other sadhakas. The question was asked whether it is not necessary for a serious seeker to go through this stage where one likes to dole out whatever knowledge one has to share it with others. My answer was that this is a part of the process, but that it also must come to an end. This desire to discuss and exchange views on spirituality. That highest state is the unborn state in which there is no experience. Before the sickness or my present condition, I was there. This sickness has come as a temporary phase, but I am prior to that. People normally feel, when sickness comes, that they are going to die. But I am not going to die. There is no death for me, but it is the sickness that will accept it. If a sick person will remember this principle only, that prior to the sickness he was, and his true nature is ever prior to the sickness. If he truly realizes this, then the impact of the sickness will be less. On the other hand, when so-called knowledgeable people are sick, they accelerate their death by imagining that they are going to die. What do you understand by the word dream? How do you understand a dream? Is not the dream something like a drama, a play? In the light of the consciousness, all kinds of play take place. The dream is one of these, and in the end, it again merges into the consciousness. To one who realizes that this consciousness is an indication of his presence, that it is in fact conscious presence, when I am conscious, it means that I am present. All bewilderment ceases. Thus, within that presence as such, there is no individual present who sees something. That is, there is neither the seer nor the seen in the impersonal presence. Again, I repeat, that impersonal presence is merely an indication of presence as such, not of any individual. It is an assurance, a guarantee of one's presence. If I have consciousness, it means I am certain that I am present. To one who really understands what has been said here, a dream is no different from what is seen in the waking state. Both are plays in the consciousness. Because of the light of consciousness, we call one thing the waking state, another thing the dream, but in essence both are events happening in the consciousness and essentially are not different. In this impersonal presence as such, the only thing present is the light of consciousness, without any form or shape. Whatever is seen in that light. Many people are under the impression that they are acting in the play. But this is a mistaken notion. All that happens is that the light of the consciousness shows various things happening. The actor is part of the play. Why does something appear to us as actual or real? Because something that someone sees every day or often conveys a sense of reality or actuality. Therefore, we accept it as more actual, more real than something that appears in a dream. But essentially, they are the same. How is a jnani? The jnani is like a cigarette lighter without the flame. When the lighter is lit, the consciousness comes in. And whatever happens is seen in the light of that consciousness. But whether or not there is the light of consciousness, the jnani is ever there. In deep sleep, we are like the condition of the unlit lighter. There is no light, therefore nothing happens. But even in that state, the light may come on. From that moment, that slight consciousness arises. The dream occurs, and one appears to act in that dream as part of the dream. I repeat, I am not talking about what happens to an individual. I am only talking about the total manifestation and how that manifestation arises. Because of the impersonal consciousness, there is the impersonal presence. But a difficulty arises, because while the composite consisting of body, vital breath, and consciousness has no shape or form, we identify all three with the body, and so we become unhappy. But once we realize the basis of it, that the total manifestation is only in the impersonal consciousness, which is presence, impersonal presence, there is no longer any difficulty. On the other hand, so long as this charge of having a male or female body is not removed from that which exists impersonally, the trouble will continue, and unhappiness will persist. This composite of body, vital breath, knowingness does not know itself as I am in the absence of that knowledge I am. The vital force is also our self, without form. Similarly, the knowingness has no form. Now, this vital force depends on the food essence body to sustain itself, and on the manas, that is the mind. It also feeds on the mind. This vital force is the agent for all activities, and this knowledge I am is a mere witness. Yet this entire composite must be available. To repeat, that vital force does not know itself. It does not go into activity in the absence of the knowledge I am. And that knowledge is available only if a sustaining body is available. Now, so long as you do not remove the charge that this vital force and the knowledge I am is male or female, on account of bodily association, you are bound to suffer. Maybe the examples I have given are somewhat pedestrian, but my intention was only to create a stronger impact. How would a jnani feel when he gives up his body? What type of pleasure or bliss does he experience? Imagine a newlywed couple. The pleasure which they derive from their wedding night is as nothing compared to the highest bliss a jnani gets when he quits his body or his life force. I call it the highest bliss, in the best festival, on the highest day, the term normally used in spiritual parlance. Compared with the love play of the wedding night, whatever pleasure the couple realize in coming together, the happiness a jnani derives in getting separated from the vital breath and the knowingness is thousands of times superior. They, the couple, are coming together. He is coming apart. Take the example of this cigarette lighter. The latter is something like nirguna rajas, that is the heat state. My original, true state is nirguna rajas. Now, on the lighter, and because of the lighter, that flame appears. In the flame, the knowledge I am is there. The mind is there, and the vital force is there. The vital force carries out all the activities. The mind communicates, and the knowledge I am is merely a witness. This is the actual state of affairs. For the emanation of any talk, the flame must be available. That is the I amness, the vital breath in the mind must be present. Then only the talk can come out. My state is nirguna rajas. I am like that letter only. The flame may be there or it may not. I am nirguna and nir rajas. I have no attributes. In my state, that beingness is absent. Similarly, I don't require any rajas. That means I don't want any entertainment activities. In my true state, nothing is. When the knowingness or I amness state is there, and the vital breath and mind are also present, this being the rajas state as compared to the nirajas state of the letter, some occupation or entertainment is essential. This can be observed in all of us. We can never stay idle. We are always occupied with one thing or another. When the vital breath quits the body, the I amness also goes. What remains is only the nirajas nirguna state. The former I call the flame state. That is the I amness. Earlier I said it is the saguna Brahman state. That is, the body is there. The vital breath is there. The mind is there. And that knowingness or I amness is there. All that is being entertained by Maya. The state in the absence of this beingness or the Maya is that nirguna nirajas state, mayatita, prior to Maya, the absolute state. 100 years back, what were you? At that time, you did not have the knowledge you are. The memory that you are was missing. Presently, in the temporary phase, you have the knowledge you are. But to have this knowledge, what are the prerequisites? The essence is required, sattva guna. This means the quintessence of the food essence is necessary to sustain the I amness or this beingness. And that essence, in turn, depends on the food body. But all these together, that is, food body quintessence and the knowledge I am, the vital breath and the mind, these are all a temporary phase only. So long as food essence is available, the knowingness will last. Now, how to escape all this? This knowingness is to discover itself, it should realize itself. Then, in the process of its realization, it is able to quit this state and abide in the Absolute, in the non-knowingness state. So one must abide in oneself first, in the knowingness state. Whenever you sit for meditation, you hold on to the form, concept that you are a male or a female. Give up these concepts. To do such meditation is almost impossible. Only a rare one will do it, without that identification with the body-mind. I get a glimpse of your state as to what you are, intellectually that is, but in my daily life I am so much under stress. My wife thinks this way, somebody else thinks that way. I'm always under tension. So how to get rid of this? I am telling you a simple thing. Get rid of the notion that you are this corpse. The body is dead always. The body is inert. It is alive only by means of your I amness. You are not the body. Hold on to this concept very firmly, and then whatever happens, it is not yours. Somebody is itching to ask questions. There is quite a big gap between that state and my present state. There is a considerable time gap. I have to do sadhana, purify myself, and all that. How can I manage to do all these religious and worldly duties in my busy life? You have recourse to natural apathy. With that, only will you do good to yourself, but also to the society. Do all the social work and you will enjoy lots of merit. As to me, I am fed up with this entire waking state and sleep state. Without these two states, I was in the perfect peaceful state. Do you hear the words sorrow or misery in the absence of the deep sleep and waking states? The knowledge I am is the product of interaction within the five elemental state. You are not that. You, as the Absolute, are not the knowledge I am. Most of us are not satisfied. We are fed up with life. There is some urge, but it is not sufficiently strong to withdraw from this daily grind. How can you dispose of this problem? You resent that you are the body, that you are the mind. You are the sattva guna. I am not the body. That standpoint you must have. It is very simple. The body, and in the body it is like a coin. On one side you have the vital breath for making possible all activity, and on the other side is the knowledge I am. Only when the vital breath is there, the knowledge I am is present. When the vital breath leaves the body, the knowledge I am also disappears. And both of these are the product of the food essence body. I am not that. This entire composite I am not. This you have to realize. Who are your ancestors? They are the food particles, that food essence. These food essences are your real ancestors. On the earth there is vegetative growth. I call it vanaspati. The quintessence of that vanaspati is the food essence. Out of that grows vachaspati. The latter means insects, worms, bees, mammals, etc. All types of creatures. They survive on this essence of vanaspati. Now in that vanaspati juice, that quintessential vegetation juice, there is also a particle, a granule, which contains the sattva guna, the rajas guna, and the tamas guna. The particle quintessence contains all three qualities. The sattva guna is merely witness, beingness, a touch of I amness. Rajas guna is activity. This guna leads you to activity. And tamas guna represents the claiming of authorship, taking the credit for the activities. Unlike what one has read in the scriptures, your ancestors are these grains of wheat and rice, and the essence of those are our ancestors. Therefore, therein the real essence of our creation is contained.